This conference will now be recorded.
Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langati Kiram Patamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai Hare Krishna. So, Jagan Prabhu, if you can just confirm if you're able to share if you're able to see my screen. Are you able to see my screen yet, Prabhu?
Not yet. Now, yes. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Jai, wonderful. So I've not been attending too often previously the Bhagavatam classes, but at least I've been hearing them on audio on and off. We did notice that we covered a lot of 5th canto for the last, I think, 1 or 2 days, yesterday mainly. And today we'll be focusing on the 6th canto, Narayana Kavaca. So I thought let me just start off by giving a little bit of a prelude to what has happened, what is happening here. The whole Bhagavatam is, in one sense, a series of events and a series of question and answers that is being asked for our spiritual benefit. And it is important to understand why these questions are asked and why this topic was brought up. I think this is very, very relevant for us. So the entire 6th canto, of course, starts off with a very famous story of Ajamila. And then soon after, it talks about Ajamila and how the issues he had and how finally he was able to come through. And then very importantly, how he had to take birth, how he had one more lifetime chance again to perfect his life and then go back home, back to Godhead. Then, of course, we have the story of Prajapati Daksha and all his daughters, and how he was having so many daughters. Narada Muni, how he would come and his first sons, how he convinced them to become brahmacharis and go away and meditate. Then Daksha becomes angry with Narada Muni and then curses him. And of course, then he has a lot of daughters, I think 60 daughters, and then he's very happy though with them. And of course, the entire lineage is coming through, how his daughters, who all they have. And of course, it comes to Tvasta, and then finally it comes down to Vishwarupa. 2 brothers, in fact, but the main person here is Vishwarupa, a very nice Brahmana and a very powerful Brahmana. So this is the prelude of the 6th canto, very, very quickly summarized of where it's coming to. The final portion of the 6th canto definitely covers more on the lines of King Indra, what happened as chronological events after that, and how Vishwarupa actually helped King Indra in this case, and what all was happening one after another. So what we would see is that Indra has accumulated a lot of wealth. Indra is extremely rich. How he in fact ends up offending his guru, which leads to a whole series of events which goes on to the rest of the story, which causes a lot of trouble both for the Asuras, Devatas, and causes a lot of chaos just by the one act of offending his guru. And then finally, it's the wonderful story of Vrtrasura. Personally, I remember hearing this when I was very young, this story, and the story seemed better than most Tinkle or Bollywood movies. It had twists, it had turns. You had Vrtrasura who comes out, who's supposed to be big demon, very scary, but the twist in the story is we actually find out he's an extremely great devotee. He's a wonderful personality and a great Vaishnava, which I think Swarupa Prabhu will definitely cover later on. But one theme I always saw in the 6th canto, which I felt was very common throughout all these cases, was the whole 6 cantos more focus on devotees and how devotees at some point or the other in their spiritual life, they have an issue. They're either causing an offense, they either fall down, they have some challenge, they get angry and curse somebody. But how through the Lord's own arrangement and through his own care even for them, they are able to repent for this, they are able to make amendments for it and come out of it much more successfully. In one sense, so we can see this in the story of Ajamila. It's very obvious what I just said. Even in one sense, in the story of Prajapati Daksha, he curses Narada, he gets angry, but then he realizes the Narada Muni is also very happy with the curse because it benefits him in one way. And then he repents, and then he has daughters when he's finally able to satisfy the desires of Lord Vishnu and populate the earth. And then, of course, you have Indra, who again offends his guru once in the beginning as Brahaspati, then again offends, uh, also offends a lot of other people in the way. And then, of course, you also have the story of Vrtrasura. I won't go too much into the backstory of Vrtrasura. Swarupa Damodar Prabhu will definitely be covering that after, so we can all listen to that very attentively. So this is a very common theme in sixth canto and something that is very important and in one sense something also very heartening for us as Vaishnavas to be able to follow and understand that the Lord does understand that devotees do have difficult times and he does make amendments and he does give opportunity at all points for us to improve. But of course, we need to take the step, we need to realize it and go forward. So this is a very kind of quick summary of the sixth canto. And of course, Bandhu Baldev Prabhu very nicely highlighted, and he was finding a very, very important chapter, which is the Narayana Kavaca Stotra and the story of Vrtrasura and the Narayana Kavaca, which I think is even very relevant to us. Even these prayers of Narayana Kavaca are very powerful. My grandfather always used to say, whenever anyone had any difficulties, we always used to chant these mantras. And I think it is relevant for all of us. And of course, we will all be chanting it again in the end of the session as well. So, coming to the quick review of the Narayana Kavaca. So to start off with this, Indra has come in. The Devatas are doing pretty well at this point. He has accumulated a lot of wealth. And as we're reading, we can see that as Indra is enjoying with all the other demigods around him and glorifying him, and he's enjoying his wealth. And the word here used specifically is intoxicated by his wealth. And upon the arrival of his guru, Brahaspati, he does not acknowledge it immediately. And then he lets it pass and does not get up to even offer his obeisances. His guru Brahaspati, who is spiritually very astute, who has the ability to even see into the future, realizes that this offense is just a symptom. It is just the beginning. Therefore, he does see in the future, if he is still there, these offenses can get even worse and degrade the position of Indra. So for the well-being of his disciple, Brahaspati gets up and leaves from that place. And as soon as he leaves, Indra becomes very, very upset. He realizes that he's done a very, very great sin. Basically, he's offended his guru. And he's offended a Vaishnava, he's offended the person, the source of his strength. How do we know it's a source of his strength? Because it becomes very, very clear. The second he's offended his guru, immediately they already see their power diminishing. One after another, they're losing some wealth, they're losing strength, and their power is diminishing. Even though they are on the right side, even though they were following all the instructions carefully, currently that they're seeing the power diminishing, while on the other side, the Asuras, simply on the power of following very strictly and pleasing their guru, Shukracharya, they were able to get significantly more stronger than the Devatas. Of course, Indra tries to search for Brahaspati and all that, but he's not able to find them. Brahaspati uses his mystic powers to disappear. And Shukracharya realizes this and he takes advantage. He asks Asuras to get powerful, to get their mantras, empowers them, and then they declare war on the Devatas. The Devatas are defeated and they're almost at the verge of losing everything. So, of course, as they always do, they started praying. And first they started praying to Lord Brahma for guidance. Please help us. What can we do? And at this point, the story ties in with Vishwarupa, the Brahmana who was born. So Lord Brahma says, please go ahead. This personality here is a young boy, but he's extremely learned and very powerful Brahmana. Please go ahead. Please learn from him. Please approach him to become your guru. And I would request that everyone also read through this chapter once, because there's a very interesting discussion that happens here. So Vishwarupa obviously is trying to avoid it in one sense. It was not of his first interest. So he was saying, but why? I am younger than you. Wow, how can I be able to give you this guidance? Vishwarupa, to be noted from his parents' father's side, he is related to the Devatas, Indra's brother's son. And from his mother's side, he is related to the Asuras. So in fact, because he has to offer his oblations and because he has to offer respects to both sides, he is a neutral party in one sense, and he respects and supports both sides. But in this case, Indra has asked him. So then the Devatas say, while in all other considerations, age is a very, very important aspect, and seniority by age makes a big difference. When it comes to Vedic system and when it comes to the Vedic understanding, the knowledge of the Vedas, age is not the qualification, but quality of understanding and the quality of realization is the qualification. And they say very clearly that you are much more superior to us in your understanding, realization of the Vedic literatures. Therefore, you're more than fit to become our guru. Having said this, Vishwarupa then accepts, becomes their guru, and of course, by his very own strength, by his Brahma Tejas, he is able to immediately have his mantras, chant the mantras, and firstly remove all these advances and strengths that the Asuras have achieved so far. And not only that, at this point, he teaches the Narayana Kavaca. So before we get into the actual Narayana Kavaca, I wanted to touch on something, which is we always get a very common question. In this case, what is the difference between Asuras and Devatas? We have on one side the Asuras who are very strictly following the rules of their Guru. They are doing as per the order of the Guru. They're doing whatever he likes and are looking to please him. While in the Devatas, you have Indra who's disrespecting his Guru, who's finding a new Guru, and is only concerned about who can be his Guru and how can he protect his position. So what is the difference in Asuras and Devatas? There was a very interesting purport where Prabhupada says, so I've listed few very obvious differences. The first one is, of course, Diti and Aditi. The Asuras come from Diti, while the Devatas come from Aditi. Then, of course, the Guru of each. The Asuras, we have the Guru who's Shukracharya, and the Devatas was Brahaspati, and at this point is Vishwarupa. But here we come to the clear distinctions. It is said that the Asuras are Asuras for one very simple reason, because they do not accept the authority of Lord Vishnu. While the Devatas only remain Devatas because they accept the authority of Lord Vishnu. This is the elementary difference. So Prabhupada takes this one step further and he says, of course, the Devatas are Vaishnavas. They accept Vaishnavas, meaning they accept the authority of Lord Vishnu. While the Asuras, they do not accept the authority of Lord Vishnu, but they have to get their source of power, they have to get it from somewhere else. Therefore, they end up becoming devotees of Shiva, of Lord Shiva, of Lord Brahma, of Durga. You see, Hiranyakashipu wanted to defeat Lord Vishnu. And for that, he is praying to Lord Brahma without knowing that the source of power for Lord Brahma is Lord Vishnu. So in one sense, Prabhupada also makes a comment there to say that by serving Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Durga, they have to indirectly, they have to realize that their source of the strength, that anything that they're getting is from Lord Vishnu. But most cases, the Asuras are ignorant of this fact or do not recognize it. And therefore, they're known as Asuras. And of course, in that category, Prabhupada even, he says today, are atheists. So by this definition, I would say that those who do not accept the authority of Lord Vishnu, in today's world, most of the people are Asuras. And that is why Lord Chaitanya was also asked, in this Kali, what are you going to do? Lord Krishna had the Asuras were minorities. So Lord Krishna, to deal with them, he would go and kill them. In this case, what would you do? You can't kill the entire population. So of course, Lord Chaitanya's movement here is focused on killing the Asuric nature within everybody. So this is one difference, the Asuras and the Devatas. So now that this is clear, we understand that Indra, even though he has created some issues, even though he's offended his Guru, ultimately he is considered Devata, and we do support the Devata simply because he does finally accept the supremacy of Lord Vishnu, which is something we will come to see later on as well. So this is a little bit prelude of the Narayana Kavaca and how Vishwarupa therefore decides to teach Indra this Kavaca so that he gets strength to again regain his Shakti and again defeat the Asuras. So, quick summary of the chapter. The first few verses is Maharaj Parikshit is inquiring about the Narayana Kavaca by which Indra gained victory, and Sukadev Goswami details this further. From verses 4 to 11, the preliminary procedures, the Anganyasa, Karanyasa, Nyasa for the heart and limbs, and the Ahangropasana, all of these steps, all the preparatory steps in cleansing the mouth, cleansing the hands, the directions to sit, the areas to focus on, cleansing the subtle body, all of this is focused on. Then we come to the protection by the various forms of the Lord. So the whole Narayana Kavacha centered around how the Supreme Personality of Godhead in all its forms, presiding everywhere, is able to protect us from every imaginable angle. So in one sense is the realization we can have from the Narayana Kavacha, how the Lord is present everywhere in all forms, and how we by surrendering unto Him can be protected from all angles by Lord Narayana. So of course we have the protection by the various forms of the Lord in various ways. We also have protection by different parts of the day. We have protection by the Lord's weapons, by the Lord's various energies and attributes. And finally, we touch upon the Phalastuti to understand what is actually the value and what is the strength of this Narayana Kavacha and how does it benefit us and what are the benefits of chanting this. So, the preliminary procedures. We need to wash our hands and feet, perform Achamana, put on a Kusha ring and face north. The Anganyasa, using the 8-syllable mantra, Om Namo Narayanaya. So this is Om Namo Narayanaya. So this is the 8 syllables we have. And then using the 12 syllable nyasa, we do the Karanyasa. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And of course, we have the nyasa from the heart and the other limbs using the 6 syllable mantra, Om Vishnave Namaha. And the final stage in this is Ahangropasana. After this, one should think himself qualitatively one with the Lord, who is full of 6 opulences and worthy of meditation. Then chant the Narayana Kavacha made of knowledge, power, and austerity. So our question here is, what is Ahangropasana? One should think himself qualitatively one with the Lord. So here Srila Prabhupada and even our Acharyas, including Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Sharada Dasni says, this Ahangropasana should be done by thinking oneself one with the Lord in the same way water needs to think itself as one with the sea. So that's why here Prabhupada specifically puts in the word qualitatively one with the Lord. Because water might think it is the same as the sea. Quality wise, yes, it is the same. But quantity wise, it's a gulf of difference and they are not the same. So we should not be under the assumption here, Ahangropasana, to think that by meditating, we're thinking that we are the Lord. We're thinking that we are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, while we might have his qualities, which is enumerated further on, we are still just a part and parcel and need his divine support. This is Ahangropasana, and this is the final setup for us to start our Narayana Kavacha. So I thought instead of going through all the shlokas, I thought we will cover just a summary. I thought I can give you the summary of what each avatar of Lord Narayana and who and what is it and how are they designated to protect us. I've also done one color coding because there is one important aspect here. As devotees, what is the relevance for us in this Narayana Kavacha? We know that through this Narayana Kavacha, Indra was able to become more powerful than his enemies. He was able to conquer his enemies. He was able to beat the Devatas. As devotees, is that our purpose? Is that why we need to chant Narayana Kavacha? Is Narayana Kavacha just because we think we do not like somebody or we feel some obstacle in our lives? Therefore, we'd like to pray to the Lord. As devotees, yes, whenever we face any kind of significant difficulties, we are praying to the Lord. But as devotees, our core purpose to pray to the Lord is for devotional service. Of course, there are times when the situation around us becomes so desperate that we need to pray for the Lord for His protection so that the situation can subside, for the ultimate goal, so that I can resume peacefully serving you in devotional service. That should be the ultimate purpose. The Narayana Kavaca is not to be misused or not to be thought of something just as an understanding or just as a Kavaca or a powerful mantra that should just be used on oneself to be used against somebody else. These kind of negative understandings or even these incorrect understandings will never have any phala in it or will never have any outcomes. So what are all the protections we're looking for? And what all imaginable protections are there that we need? So of course we know as spirit souls in this material world, in the material body, what are the difficulties we suffer from? It can be broadly classified as Adhyatmic, Adibhautik, and Adidevik. There is, of course, we are causing misery for ourselves. There is, of course, the case where other people around us are causing misery for us. And, of course, finally, because of divine intervention or divine scenario, that is also being classified as difficulty for us. We can see very clearly that all of this, that all these prayers that is being done is clearly designed around to protect us from all three of them and also to protect us from ourselves, Adhyatmic, even to protect us from ourselves. So we'll just go through with some of this list. So of course, we have Matsya, who protects us in water, Vamana, who protects us in land, Vishwarupa in sky, Nrsimhadeva in forest and the battlefield, Lord Varaha, the streets, Parashurama, top of mountains, and Ramachandra, foreign countries. So this is all I've classified it in the gray color, which means these are all Adidevik activities. That means they can be anywhere at any time, under any scenario, in any location. So we're not sure where this can come from. But here, a very, very important part, which is for us as devotees, a very, very key area, is classified in green. This is Adhyatmic, or what we need protection from ourselves. So we pray to Lord Narayana so that we don't fall from our duties. So from falling from duties, we need protection from him. We pray to Nara, of the Narayana Rishis, for unnecessary pride. Specifically, we pray in this for Datya, for falling from Bhakti Yoga, to Lord Kapila, from material bondage. The Sanat Kumaras for lusty desire. It is said that the Sanat Kumaras were perfect brahmacharis and empowered devotees of the Lord, and therefore Prabhupada even says in his purport, for spiritual progress, lusty desires is one of the biggest obstacles. I'm praying to Sanat Kumaras even from the Narayana Kavacha with this mood that we want obstacles in our devotional lives to be curtailed from all of these sources. Praying to them is very auspicious. Of course, we have also the prayer to Lord Hayagriva, neglecting to offer obeisances to the Lord. In this case, it is also said that even if you're passing the road and the Lord is anywhere, we need to always pay respects and always recognize the Supreme Personality of God and pay respects to Him. Many times we do not do that. Of course, we walk on the street, there's a deity, sometimes we offer, sometimes we do not, or sometimes we might not even even while offering the obeisances, we might not be thinking or we might not be conscious and actually praying to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So all of this is protection. So, sorry, one thing to note here is this is not protection that I do the activity and then you protect me from the results. This is not that sort of protection. The protection here instead is I do not do this wrong activity. There's a very different, so that is something also we need to understand that neglecting to offer obeisances to the Lord, I'm not getting protected that I can do that activity and I will not get any sinful activities from it. What it will give me protection from is, it will first help me realize my previous times I've done this, help me get freed from that, but in the future it will keep me mindful so that I will not create this again. Then of course we have the prayer to Narada, who is also an empowered Acharya, committing offenses in deity worship. So here Prabhupada says there are 32 regulations on Archana, on deity worship, mainly written in the Narada Pancharatra. And committing any offenses in this form of deity worship, to help us avoid committing these offenses, we pray to Narada. Of course, Kurma, falling to the hellish planets. Dhanvantri, I've highlighted Dhanvantri in red because I think it is relevant to us today, especially in today's world. It is from undesirable eatables and physical illness. Of course, today I think we have a lot of issues in the world happening because of physical illness. This COVID-19 is definitely a mix of Adhyatmik, Adi Devik, and Adi Bhautik. It is also because of our own behaviors and the way we run the world, all of us as a human race together, which has caused this. Therefore, we can even take this prayer to say, please protect us, as in myself, my family, all of us, so that this should not impact us further in preaching and association with devotees, which we're definitely missing a lot, and of course continuing to function in the world. Then we have Lord Rishabdeva, fear produced by dualities. Lord Rishabdeva is definitely the wonderful pastimes are there, how he conquers his inner and internal and external challenges that are there. And therefore, from hot and cold, all of these difficulties, to be able to control it, to understand it. Therefore, these fear produced by dualities is something we pray to Lord Rishabdeva. So I've classified this whole section as to be as under Adhyatmik, or that which we need protection from ourselves. Especially for devotees, we see that Prabhupada here has written a lot on even bhakti and how for bhakti these prayers are important. Is we'll have to pray that yes, we have all these elements which Krishna is protecting us from, but these ones are the most critical for us in our devotional life, so that we may be able to continue without any difficulty or without any fall downs. Then of course we have Yajna from deformation, from Lord Balaram, injuries caused by others, from the Shesha, from envious serpents, and Vyasadeva, again I've classified as in green, which is for Adhyatmik, which is ignorance from the absence of Vedic knowledge, and Buddha Deva, activities opposed to the Vedic principles, and of course Kalki Deva, the dirt of the age of Kali. So how come even we are praying to Buddha Deva here? Lord Buddha Deva recommended that all Vedic literatures be given up and they be rejected, and we do not follow them. But this is only a partial understanding. Lord Buddha has also understood, even explained for Jayadeva Goswami's Dashatara Stotra. The fact here is Lord Buddha has come in because of people who are using Vedic principles and improperly using them. So under the guise of following Vedic principles, they're abusing it. So we see that many times, while the Vedic principles in many cases are very much delineated for us to grow, but in fact we like to stick to the lower principles, the principles which we find more beneficial. So an example is we'll be reading through Bhagavatam, and we'll pick and choose. I wanted to have prasadam today, and I wanted to have today's fasting for Ekadashi, but I wanted to have prasadam today. I wanted to have my normal food. Anybody can do this. We can just flick through some shastras, pick up some there, put in Google to say something on prasadam, to say that prasadam should never be rejected, and pick up, and just per our own mind and heart's desire, we can pick and choose to say whatever we think is correct. So you're picking and choosing shastra in different perspectives to support our own statement, our own view. So therefore, this was one of the main reasons why Lord Buddhadeva had to appear, because there was a lot of killing in this world due to misuse of the Vedic literatures, and therefore Buddhadeva had to come and set the principles correct. Unfortunately, the only way he had to do it is to reject the entire principles and say, follow me. And then, of course, we had Adi Shankaracharya come in and set, and was a covered form of Buddhism where he established Vedas back as an authority. And then, of course, coming all the way line through the Vaishnava Acharyas to Lord Chaitanya, who has finally re-established the entire Shastric literatures. So this is also a prayer that we need to be very careful of, is we pray to Lord Buddha Deva so that we do not, under the name of following. So even in the nectar of instruction, we hear the word niyamagraha, or that means to, one is to not follow, but is to also overly follow. That is to be overly attached to the following of the rules or not following it for its true purpose. So this is also protection that we all need. So then finally we have one, we've been able to protect ourselves from external and internal forces, but also in terms of time, we are asking for protection for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have Keshava, who protects us in the first part of the day. So each piece here, so each part of the day is, by Vedic system, is divided to 30 minutes. I think they call Ghatikas, as I've seen. So each 30 minutes, every 30 minutes, we have one prayer of the Lord to protect us at all points. So we have Keshava, Govinda, Narayana, Vishnu, Madhusudana, Madhava, Rishikesha, Padmanabha, Srivatsadama, Janardana, Damodara, and Vishweswara to protect us at all these points, so that we will be able to, at any point in the day. So one is, we always understand there are many dimensions. So there is a dimension of space where we have the world around us, and we have the three dimensions: length, breadth, and width. But here we are even covered in terms of time. So even at all times during the day, we are protected. Then we come into the protection by the Lord's weapons. So the disc Sudarshana Chakra, it's obviously spinning. It is meant to burn our enemies. Dhangadi, Dhangadi. Then you have the club, Gada. It produces a spark of fire. It is extremely dear to the Lord. And the prayer Indra, or the prayer that is being made here, is pound, help me pound pieces of the evil beings, yakshas, bhutas, rakshasas, churnaya, churnaya. This is how the pound, the word we say here. Then you have the conch, Panchajanya, filled with the air of Krishna, creates fearful sound which trembles the heart of enemies. This drives away the pramatas, pretas, matras, brahma rakshasas, and those who've led sinful lives with dravyas. Then the sword, the best of the sharp-edged sword engaged by the Lord. Please cut the shoulders of my enemies. And of course, you have the shield, marked with 100 brilliant moon-like circles, cover the eyes of sinful enemies and pick out their sinful eyes. So those who are putting bad eyes on us and have bad intention on us, the shield is also meant to protect us from that. And finally, we have the protection by the Lord's various energies. So here, the first energy and the first activity, which is our biggest protection here, is listed as a glorification of the Lord's name and form. May it protect us from the influence of bad planets, envious human ghosts, and sins. Then, of course, we have Garuda, who is to be as powerful as the Lord. That's how he's able to carry the Lord on his back, who protects us from the dangerous conditions. Then we have Lord Vishwaksena, who protects us from all miseries. Then the Lord's names, forms, carriers, weapons, and personal associates. May they protect our intelligence, senses, mind from all dangers. And the Lord who is the universe, may destroy all of our misfortunes by that truth. The Lord is, of course, omniscient and omnipresent, and therefore he may protect us at all times and all places. And finally, which is very relevant for us today also, Lord Narasimha Deva. May he protect us from fear in all directions, all corners, above, below, inside, and outside. He said there's a furious avatar, the furious avatar. May he protect us finally as an overall protection. May he protect us from all sides. So something we can all realize here is the Narayana Kavaca is ultimately, we're praying to Lord Krishna. You are present and your energy is present. The realization here is your energy is present across every element of this material world, spiritual world, subtle body, everything that is there in this creation. Your energy, your weapons, your energies, your name, form, pastimes, everything is present across all. And if I'm praying, if I take shelter of Lord Narayana from all these directions, any imaginable directions that is listed out here, we can be protected from it. So there's a very nice understanding for us also understand how Lord Krishna, just by simply surrendering unto him, we can be protected. Prabhupada, in the chapters in this text that comes here, he takes in the translation he says, therefore may all negative elements, that is, be completely destroyed by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is in the 28th verse here, where the glorification of the Lord's name and form is explained. So one thing we see very common here is the word is always used, the name and the form, the name of the Lord, the name and the form of the Lord. So everything here is even tied up with that. So we see that just by chanting the names, we're not doing any other activities. We're not, other than of course the initial nyasas where we are purifying ourselves. Just by simply chanting the names of the Lord, this is the ultimate understanding that we had. The power of the name of the Lord is so much that it protects us from every possible danger that is there. Not only does it possible from outside dangers, it also protects us from dangers within. And this is, of course, the lower principle. The higher principle is the names of the Lord will finally be able to engage us by protecting us on all these sides. We're feeling very, very confident, and we will be able to focus all our energies in devotional service unto Him. Why do we as devotees need to ask for this protection at some times? This could be asked. Of course, we understand that the Lord is protecting us. So Prahlad Maharaj. So here, Nrsimha Deva is said, it could mean two things. One is it can mean Lord Nrsimha Dev, who is furious and who protects us with his energy. And also, Narasimha Deva here means the follower of Lord Nrsimha, or Prahlad Maharaj. So how did Prahlad Maharaj? So here also the description is given. Prahlad Maharaj, he absorbed all the elephants, he absorbed all the brutalities thrown upon him by Hiranyakashipu. How did he do it? Simply by the chantings of the name of the Lord. So again, here it is emphasized that simply by praying and by understanding the power that the Lord's name, form, quality, activities, paraphernalia, any of this is non-different from the Lord Himself, especially the name. And just by chanting the name, Lord's names, we can be protected across everything. And of course, this protection is meant, like exactly as Sri Prahlad Maharaj did, is this protection is just an external protection. Prahlad Maharaj did not chant the names of Lord Krishna for specifically for protection. Of course, he knows Krishna will protect him. But his main reason to chant the names of the Lord is to call out for him, is to seek his association and to serve him for Bhakti Yoga. So this is the overreaching or the primary principle for the Narayana Kavachas for devotees. Yes, protection of the Lord is always there for his devotees. Krishna says he never lets his devotees down. He always protects them. But Narayana Kavacha, the most important aspect we can understand here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead is present all around. He is there protecting us in all angles, and he is also approachable every way possible through his name, through his form, through his pastimes, through his weapons. Therefore, this is more important for us as devotees. How can we approach the Lord in this case? Through his name, form. We have so many things to remember him by. And of course, the most powerful and easiest for us to follow here is to chant the names of the Lord. Therefore, Prabhupada in his purport specifically points out this word, Advaya Jnana, which indicates that there is no difference between him, his names, form, qualities, weapons, and so on. Therefore, for us it is very, very easy. By chanting this Narayana Kavacha, while we are protected, while the byproduct is protection from everywhere, the main product or the real phala that we can get from this is to be peacefully, without any obstacles, to devotional service unto the Lord, and have the Lord's own protection in doing this. So this is the wonderful Narayana Kavacha. We will be chanting this mantra, and I would request that everybody, we can all chant this mantra, definitely with ambition. So many times we do like to chant these kavachas and we do like to chant it, but while it is wonderful, since this is all chanting the names of the Lord, it is wonderful that we chant it because of personal protection. Definitely, please do not chant this with the thought that I have somebody who is causing me problems, I want to finish them. That is not the aim of this kavacha. But the correct attitude that we can chant the name of the Lord is to think that, Lord Sri Krishna, please protect me so that my service of bhakti unto you will not be hindered by any other aspects that is not favorable, be it myself, be it any of the devatas around, or be it any of the other people around us. So this is our primary prayer that we would like to look for, from the Narayana Kavacha. With this attitude, it is a great benefit for all of us to read this Kavacha. So, of course, the Phalastuti, finally the chapter concludes with the Phalastuti. What is the benefits? We will be able to conquer the leaders of all demons. As I said in the beginning, the Asuras in this Kali Yuga are not outside, is not your neighbor, is not your boss, but it is us within us. So we need to be able to conquer a lot of the Asuric natures within us. So this is the main area of Narayana Kavach also. Anyone seen or touched is immediately freed from all fears and dangers. No disturbance or danger from government or evil disease or demons, or evil demons or disease. One who employs this armor or hears about it with faith is immediately freed from all dangers and is worshipped by all living entities. Indra, after receiving this prayers from Vishwarupa and conquering the demons, enjoyed all the opulence of the three worlds. And of course, we have finally the most important instruction that came through all of this is the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the primary protection for us as devotees for all difficulties. We always see that as soon as any of the devatas, including be it Lord Brahma, be it Lord Indra, they would be doing all their activities. But as soon as a difficulty arises, the first thing that they would need to do is they need to chant the names of the Lord. We will even see it again further. As Vrtrasura is born, again Indra is perturbed and he's wondering, oh my god, my position is threatened. This demon is definitely going to be the end of all of us. So what does he do in this case? Again, he chants the names of the Lord. He says, oh Govinda, oh Vasudeva, oh Krishna, you are Bhagavan. And he chants, he glorifies the name, form of the Lord. This is the constant theme that is seen everywhere. This Narayana Kavacha is particularly potent because, of course, it is given as Pashastic injunction, and it is a whole Kavacha and a whole series of mantras and a very short series of mantras, very easy for us to learn and read, and something we can all definitely learn and with the right mood be able to apply it in our daily lives. To conclude on this, just to also give as to what is happening, we do see that Indra has definitely conquered. He has enjoyed the opulence of the three worlds. But of course, he still, even though he is a Vaishnava, even though he is a follower, he still has a difficulty where he needs to be scared about his position and needs to be fearful for it. We do see that Vishwarupa, who was initially neutral between the Devatas and demons, he would do his oblations for Indra, Agni to empower them, but at the same time, he would also offer oblations to the demons because they are from his mother's side, the Asuras. And seeing this, Indra gets very angry and again offends. And again, here in this case, he offends by killing his guru. Here again, Vishwarupa, he chops off the head, the three heads of Vishwarupa. And again, and therefore, again, he has to repent for it, which goes through a whole cycle with the advent of Vrtrasura. And of course, again, so for killing a Brahmana, he has to undergo penances and also he has to distribute the suffering all over. And again, Vrtrasura is born and then he is almost fearful for his life. And then finally, for even defeating Vrtrasura, he also has to undergo penances over there. So just to summarize here, a few things. The beginning of anybody's downfall, as can be seen here, is when one offends one's guru. Even if you're an asura, just simply by the dint of following the instructions of guru, we are able to get significantly superior strength. So this is the power of Shri Guru. And of course, then after that, we come to understand that the name, form, qualities, weapons of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is all pervading. As all his forms, he's all over, protecting us from all directions. And his protection, by following, we can seek protection from him for all sorts of dangers. Why do we seek protection from him for dangers? As devotees of Supreme Personality of Godhead, our primary purpose is so that without an obstacle, without any difficulties, we are able to engage in pure devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the wonderful Narayana Kavacha and the summary here. After this, we will be chanting the Narayana Kavacha and we will be all trying to take protection from all external forces and obstacles in devotional service. And also we will hear the very, very interesting story of Vrtrasura, his origin, who was he and who is this great so-called terrible personality and why was he born and what all was his previous lifetime story that caused him to be there. And this is something absolutely wonderful, and we can all listen to it. Thank you all so much for listening very patiently. Please forgive me if I've made any mistakes in this case. And this is a wonderful chapter. I enjoyed studying it and reading it. I've been hearing the story and hearing these pastimes for a long time. Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the nice presentation and interesting explanation with from multiple perspectives, from Adhyatmik, Adidevik, from the directions, from the different parts of the body, from the different energies. So interesting perspectives, Prabhu. So we have time for one question. So if anybody would like to have any queries, one question. Jagan Prabhu, you would like to add anything, Prabhu? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Prabhuji. A very good class. Very clear and crisp. I think 2 points I liked it very much is when he was trying to explain a rather complicated subject matter where the Bhagavatam line or the text which is directly pointing to an impersonalist explanation. I think Pundarika Prabhu has done a good research and clear understanding to take the help of Srila Prabhupada and explain it with an example of water and sea example. That was a very significant thing. Otherwise, if that kind of an explanation clarity is not there, we can very clearly get into the trap of getting into the Mayavadi understanding and claim ourselves that Bhagavatam also supports that idea in spirit. And then the other thing also is very subtly and very nicely covered is about Buddha. Sometimes we do get in the purports of Srila Prabhupada and lectures, he strongly kind of condemns the kind of an atheistic attitude that Buddha has to demonstrate. But he has very nicely and very subtly covered that sensitive topic with a very positive approach to that. I really liked it, and I would definitely have picked up, and I will definitely make use of these kind of references in my session wherever I have to give in this context. Hare Krishna. Thanks, Prabhu, for leaving us like that. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Any queries? Any questions? Hare Krishna. We can take one question. Hare Krishna. So moving on, if anybody has any queries, you can still post it on the meeting chat. So we will take it across to Prabhu and then give the response back to you. Pundarik Prabhu, thank you once again, Prabhu, for the nice class done in a very simple and in a way in which everyone can relate. So if Mataji is ready, if Mataji can share the screen and start, we can start.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Yes, my mother is also ready to chant the Narayana Kavaca.
So can you share the Kavaca, Prabhu, on the screen?
Yes, Prabhu. Just give me 1 second.
So Hare Krishna, we will now have the chanting of the Narayana Kavaca. So done by Her Grace Sita Charu Devi Dasi Mataji. So I would request everyone to keep the mics on mute, but chant along with Mataji. Hare Krishna. It will approximately take 10 minutes.
This conference will now be recorded.
So, the 2 chapters that we are going to go through today is chapter 11, which is the transcendental qualities of Vrtrasura, and chapter 12, which is the next chapter, which describes the passing away of Vrtrasura. Now, before I get into the discussion, just a brief summary outline of what is there in this chapter. Chapter 11 talks about the transcendental qualities of Vrtrasura. As we have already heard and gone through in previous chapters, that a fierce battle has ensued between the demigods and the demons. And as always, the demigods, with so much of blessings and support from the supreme power, are appearing to be powerful. And seeing their prowess and seeing their weapons and seeing the way they are fighting and attacking, the demons are fleeing in fear. So this chapter starts with Vrtrasura chastising his own associates, his demons, and he's chastising them that what kind of creatures are you? Are you really born of your mothers, or are you just stool that has come out from your mothers? He's chastising them like that. And then he's the commander, so he wants to take full control and see that the battle continues. And on the other hand, as the demons are fleeing, the demigods, they're attacking them from behind, from their backs. So
This conference will now be recorded.
Vrtrasura, on the other hand, also has a desire. What is the concomitant result of each desire? Let us try to understand. Vrtrasura's desire is to completely surrender his soul, his every particle of his constitution at the lotus feet of Lord Hari. And because of this, he is completely fearless. Abhayam. Sarva dharman parityajya. He is the embodiment of that verse right here. He is completely free of fear because he wants to take full shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. On the other hand, Indra, he is very much attached to his position. He's attached to his sense gratification. He's attached to his glory. He's attached to his opulences. And that is a very materialistic desire. So you probably can't see a materialistic desire. Let's see if I can scroll it a little bit here. Leads to pavarga. And a spiritual desire leads to apavarga. Now, many times you have heard about the Pavarga and Apavarga. It is important to understand in this particular context where Vrtrasura is coming out with his realizations of how desires can play such an important role in our journey back to Godhead. It is the desire that has got us till here, and it is only going to be the desire which will take us back. There's a very beautiful pastime. Srila Prabhupada is once a disciple. He sees that Prabhupada is leaving the temple. He has finished a wonderful tour in their yatra, and then Prabhupada gave beautiful talks and inspired so many devotees. And then when Prabhupada is leaving, this devotee suddenly, he gets a question in his heart and he runs to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is just almost about to close the door of his car, and he just gets on his knees and he says, Prabhupada, can I ask you a question? Prabhupada says, yes. So he says, how can I really become sincere to serve Krishna? And Prabhupada looks at him, and in a very grave voice, he says, desire. And he closes his door and he leaves. Now, that one word that Prabhupada utters, desire, actually speaks volumes and volumes of realizations of Prabhupada. It is the desire that has plucked us out of this beautiful garden of spiritual ecstasy, the spiritual world. Krishna bahir mukha hoy bhogavansha kare, nikatate mayadhari dhapatiya jare. Prabhupada used to often quote this. It's a Bengali saying. In Bengali, it's a very important principle, spiritual principle, that as soon as the jiva gets this desire that maybe I can also try to separately love, separately enjoy, separately have some of my own domain that I can control and I can live. As soon as that desire comes in, Maya Devi will grab that soul and bring that soul right here. And this is exactly how we all have come here, unfortunately. So desire is extremely important. Before we go into the details of Pavarga, I just wanted to scroll down a little bit, and I'm sorry, my notes were prepared just about an hour ago. So they're not very organized, and I apologize for that. So here I have just created a cycle, a vicious cycle. It's very important that we try to understand this and try to break this cycle so that the right kind of desires can always be installed and placed in our hearts. So the first is, it starts from desire for sense gratification. This is the root cause of our bondage, because we have a desire for sense gratification. Prabhupada, in one of his purports, says a very interesting thing. He says, every desire for sense gratification has the seed of an offense in it. Please, I'll repeat this. Please hear it carefully. Every desire for sense gratification has a seed to sin, and has a seed to offend. So from this desire, the seed is sown in our hearts to sin. And then what happens? As soon as the seed is sown, it precipitates into further desire. Just like you sow a seed of, any fruit or any vegetable or anything, it will grow into that. So since it is the desire of sense gratification, it precipitates into further desire. It grows. And then as it starts growing, you see, when the seed, the tree or the plant is not visible. You don't see the plant, it's just a seed. But when you sow it and you cultivate it and you water it, what happens? It grows. And when it grows, you start seeing all the different varieties into that plant. Similarly, when this desire which is sown into the heart starts developing, starts fructifying, what happens? It turns into action. And when desire turns into action, that starts the rolling. Action keeps fanning the desire for sense gratification, and then the jiva is stuck in this cycle. I hope everybody is able to understand that the sense gratification cycle starts with the desire, and then it gets into the seed form, it fructifies, it comes to action, and then again comes back to sense gratification. And then it goes on and on and on. And this exactly, in other words, is called pavarga. So, desire, any kind of materialistic desire will lead to pavarga. What is pavarga? It is actually, if you split this term, pavarga, which actually means material bondage, has got pa, fa, ba, and ma, and bha, and ma. So pa is parishram, which is hard labor. You have desires, you have to work hard for it. That is what we see everywhere in this world. Everyone is working so hard. And then the next stage is fena. You have to slog like a donkey to fulfill what you have desired. Parishram, and then fena, foam. Perfa, ba. Ba is vyartha. Vyartha means it really has got no value. It really doesn't have any value. Dharma swanishtita pumsan vishwaksena kathasve no utpadayed yadiratim sham eva. He kevalam Bhagavatam says that anything, any activity, any occupation, if you are engaging in, is not connected directly or indirectly to the service and the remembrance of the Lord, it's simply a wasteful labor. So it's vyartha. But because you have done so much of parishram, you have worked like a donkey to have it, the next stage is bhaya, to always make sure that it is secure and it is safe. And then in this consciousness of insatiable, incessant fear, the jiva dies. That is ma, this is mrityu. So this is, in short, pavarga. And what is apavarga? Apavarga is the opposite of that. Akama sarva kamova moksha kama udarati tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham. Bhagavatam says that whether you are filled with desires, whether you have no desires, whether you want to become a yogi, whether you want to do this or you want to do that, ultimately, if you can cultivate the desire of Krishna consciousness, everything is fine. That leads to perfection. So that is apavarga, which means liberation. This is why it is very, very important to understand what Vrtrasura is saying here. So let us now go to the realizations part. Now I'm going to just quickly go through it because we don't have much time. Vrtrasura's realizations are very important. The real opulence of a person is not in how he looks or how he talks or how he sings or how he behaves or how he acts. That's of course connected to some degree to what he possesses, but the true opulence can be seen with the nature of realizations a person possesses. Realizations are like the harvest, Realizations cannot come overnight. You can't mug up realizations. You can't, just by heart realizations. It's like a field. It's like a harvest. You have to work hard if you want a harvest. It has to be cultivated for months. Plow the land, uproot what is not required. Throw away all the unwanted weeds, make the ground fertile, then sow the right seeds, and then every day water it. That is how a field is cultivated. So similarly, realizations also come in Krishna consciousness over a period of time by sincere practice of devotional service. The reason why everyone who has attended any talk, any lecture, any class by the senior Vaishnavas, the spiritual masters, Srila Prabhupada, why there's such deep transformation of heart? Because of the realizations that they share. So Bhagavatam is nothing but a book of realizations. So Vrtrasura, who himself is actually such a Paramhamsa devotee of the Lord. Look at the paradox. He's born in a demon body, but is filled with spiritual realizations. On the other hand, Indra is born in a devotee body, but is filled with filthy, materialistic desires. So let us see what are the realizations of Vrtrasura. Now, these realizations I have numbered in 7, and we will quickly try to go over it. Is there any way I can minimize this? Let me see 1 second. Yeah. You all can see me, right? Everybody can see me. Let's see. So realization number 1. So this is all that Vrtrasura is mentioning. He's saying to Indra. Once I am killed, I shall be freed from material bondage. Fixing my mind on the Lord, I shall attain the destination of great sages like Narada Muni. So this is his enthusiasm. He is so eager to quit this body. He's saying, I'll be freed from material bondage. I've got no attachment to this material form, the material, facilities that have been given. My main destination is to be with sages like Narada Muni. So he's super enthusiastic. Second, those who are fully surrendered become the Lord's personal servants and assistants. The Lord never bestows upon such servants the brilliant opulences of upper, lower, and middle planetary systems of his material world. Here's another very beautiful realization that he's sharing. And he's saying, Sadhuna Hridayam Mahyam. Krishna has declared in the Bhagavatam that those who are very, very dear to me, those who serve me with utter devotion, they always stay with me. They are like my personal associates. They will live with me. So this also is something that we all need to very strongly ponder upon. That what really is for us here. We are in a journey. Let us focus all our heart's attention on the destination, on what we will be given in return of our insignificant attempts. It is the mercy of Guru and Krishna which will actually take us there. All we need to do is just stick to the process. Vrtrasura is saying a very important point here. The Lord never bestows upon his such servants who are very sincere, who have a desire to serve him sincerely, opulences of the upper, lower, and middle planetary systems. Nadanam, najanam, nasundarim, kavitam, vajagati. This is what Krishna's heart is as a devotee. A devotee never aspires for mundane fame, followership, for prestige, for sense gratification. He never. And when the Lord sees that here is a person who really has the substance to come back to me, he will not give all this to him. In fact, Bhagavatam even says, Yasyaham anugrahanami harisyetat dhanam shanay, that I take away all that from him. When I want to show my special mercy upon my devotee, I take away all that. So, I mean, we are all grihasthas, and every one of us, we need material possessions, we need securities, we need this, we need that. But the point that we should try to understand from these realizations, let us not have our unflinching faith in these securities. Let our faith be completely fixed into the Lord and His mercy. And what does that mean? That even if it is all gone, this is actually the discussion, the theme of the next chapter. Whether there is victory or defeat doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Vrtrasura is in this consciousness, and that is why he's joyful. And we will see in the next chapter how his arms were cut, how he was bleeding. It was a ghastly scene. But his consciousness was jubilant. He was in ecstasy. So, attachment to material opulences, aggrandizements of all these material things will actually plague this faith that we may want to have it in our hearts. So let us all try to dovetail these attachments that may be there in our hearts. I definitely have a lot of them. So let us try to dovetail them to Krishna, to any aspect of Krishna. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. Prahlad Maharaj has beautifully given us these 9 processes of devotional service. Okay. I'm sorry, I have to brush up fast, so we're running out of time. Realization number 3, the Lord's special mercy is that He forbids His devotees to endeavor uselessly for religion, economic development, and sense gratification. Dharma, Artha, Kama. Krishna does not want us to get entangled into Dharma, Artha, Kama. He really wants us to go for the Pancham Purusharth, which is the main goal. And that is liberation, eternal liberation. And that eternal liberation is the only thing that can really make the soul happy. And this is why Vrtrasura here is so joyful that now, once you kill me, O Indra, I'm going to cut this material bondage. I'm not interested in any religion, economic development, or sense gratification. All I want is to go back to Krishna. So that point, that similarly he takes away the opulence, we've already spoken. So we'll move to the next point. Realization number 4, the 3 properties of a human being. Very important realization. And Prabhupada expands it beautifully in the purport. Every human being possesses these 3 valuable properties: the body, mind, and the words. And then Vrtrasura is expressing an extremely important point. Oh Lord of my life, may I again become the servant of your dedicated servants, so that my mind may always think of you, of your transcendental attributes. I've underlined that word servant because I wanted everybody to very sincerely think about this. Why is this principle of das, dasanu, das so much emphasized? Even Lord Chaitanya, he explicitly said, Gopi Gopi bhartu padakabalayor das, dasanu, das. Naham vipro nacha narpati napi vaishyo nashu. I'm not a Brahmin, Shudra, Vaishya, none of these. What is my real position? I'm the servant of the servant of the servant of the master of the Gopi. Why? Why so much of emphasis on being the servant of the devotees? Here, Vrtrasura is revealing that. If I am again given the opportunity to become the servant of your dedicated servants, what will be the result? My mind will always be able to think of your transcendental attributes. See, this is such a challenge for every one of us. Everything is possible. We can do so many things, but can we really do the man mana bhava mad bhakto? Can we really engage our mind in Krishna service? And the secret is right here. It comes when you humbly, as in the mood of Trinada Pishunichena, serve the Vaishnavas, serve the devotees. So this is how the mind, which is one of the opulences of every human being, can be engaged. My words can be engaged in glorifying the Lord's attributes. We have been given these tongues. Just look around how much prajalpa goes on. And now with all these highly sophisticated communication platforms, WhatsApp, Facebook, this, that, there's unlimited prajalpa. How much? I mean, this program that all these devotees are doing is amazing, that we are spending this time to cut away from all that prajalpa and just spend these important moments in discussing, talking about the attributes of the Lord. And my body to always engage in the loving service. I'm sure many of you must have witnessed the beautiful Narasimha Abhishekam in Mayapur. It was just so unbelievably beautiful to see so many devotees together, offering such a beautiful Abhishekam to the Lord on his appearance day. So we have been given the form of the Lord. It can be the deity form, it can be Srimad Bhagavatam, it can be the holy name. We are here with Krishna 24/7 to engage our bodies, our mind, our words, everything in Krishna's loving service. Let me keep an eye on the clock also. Okay, so it's already 7. I have to quickly brush through the few realizations. Bereft of your service, I do not wish to enjoy any of the planets in the 14 worlds. Another very sweet realization. A devotee does not want anything. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Kita Janma, I'm ready to become a kita or a mosquito. Ho Dasa. Bahirmukha Brahma Janmi. I don't want even the position of Brahma if I am Bahirmukha, if I am bereft of your service, if I'm bereft of your remembrance. Very important realization. You see, this is why Prabhupada named our movement Krishna consciousness. If you are losing the grip on Krishna consciousness and you are really having a very tight grip on many other things, we have position, we have influence, we can command, we can do so many things. But if the grip on the Krishna conscious rope is loosening, you're finished. Because bereft of this service, we will again be lost. It is just a matter of time. The last and very important realization, let my mind, my consciousness, everything that I have be only attached to you. Here, he's expressing that, oh my Lord, I'm stuck in the material world. I have attachment to children, to my wife, to my possessions, and these attachments have kept me entangled for so much time. Let my attachment be only towards you, my Lord. Let me not have any other attachments. So very important realization for all of us to meditate upon. Now, let me quickly move to the next chapter. The next chapter, in chapter number 12, is again the continuation of the episode which is going on between Indra and Vrtrasura. Beautiful chapter. We will witness the passing away of this great devotee, Vrtrasura. And that's why you'll see, Vyasadeva says, Shri Vrtrasura Uvacha. Very interesting. We've never seen any demon being addressed as Shri Vrtrasura or Shri Adhasur, Shri Mati Putra. We've never seen that. But he's the only demon in the Bhagavatam. He's a Shri Vrtrasura Uvacha. So very important with such a transcendental personality. So this chapter is entitled in the Bhagavatam, Passing Away of Vrtrasura. But I have given the short the title, which is according to the theme that we're going to discuss today. The theme of this chapter is the Supreme Lord is only the true controller and fully Swarat. And the way this theme springs up is when Vrtrasura sees that Indra, who although having the thunderbolt which has been awarded to him, given to him to kill him, is hesitating, is fearful, he's thinking maybe I'll be victorious, I'm not going to be victorious. So seeing his state of, you can say, weak-heartedness in this situation, Vrtrasura is chastising him that, oh Indra, if you can simply understand that victory and defeat is not in our hands, it is all controlled by the Supreme Lord, who is the true controller, who is the only independent personality. It has already been ordained that I am going to be killed by this thunderbolt. So why are you wasting your time? Just hurl it at me and kill me. And then in course of this beautiful thought, he speaks some very important things. Now, we should remember that there's a very powerful element which is functioning everywhere in its creation, and that is the will of the Supreme Lord. So why is it necessary to acknowledge the superintendence of the Lord? The question should come, why should I acknowledge? Why should I acknowledge this truth that the Lord is the supreme controller? He is the only supremely independent being, and I am just a subordinate. I'm not the controller. I'm not independent. Prabhupada beautifully explains this point. He says, because this will help us remain equipoised in all dualities of life. When one becomes too overwhelmed with dualities of victory and defeat, of heat and cold, profit and loss, what happens? He's dragged into the zone of stress and depression and frustration. And what happens because of that? Valuable time is wasted. You see, I mean, there are so many ways that we can explain this. When you're riding a plane, when you're in a plane, when you're flying in a plane, I mean, obviously the person, the captain, the main pilot is the one who probably will be fully attentive of what's going on. There's hundreds of controls in front of him. The people are relaxing. Why? Why? Because they are dependent on him. If somebody just makes an announcement, oh, the captain is dead, will they be relaxing like that? Nobody will be relaxing like that anymore. Everybody will be jumping and howling and crying and praying and doing all those sorts of things. Because the dependence factor has been crushed. So if you apply the same thing, I'm not flying, I'm not the controller, I'm not the person who is going to make any difference when and how things are going to happen. So it's better that I focus all my attention on the dependence of the Lord. And we are celebrating the most wonderful pastime in the history of creation, where this dependence, this faith that the Lord is always going to protect me, is personified by Prahlad Maharaj himself. What an amazing personality Prahlad is. Completely dependent on Krishna. No fear whatsoever what's going to happen. I mean, the whole pastime, everybody knows. Let's move to the next one. A true realization of this can genuinely can make one equipoise, as we have already talked. Another realization in this chapter is, Prabhupada says that it is very instructive for sincere workers in Krishna consciousness. One should not be jubilant in victory or morose in defeat. We should make a sincere effort to implement the will of Krishna or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we should not be concerned with the victory and defeat. Our only duty is to work sincerely so that our activities may be recognized by Krishna. Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadashana. We have heard this verse hundreds of times, and all of us know this verse. Don't be attached to the result. What is going to happen? What is not going to happen? Coronavirus is killing so many of us. It's everywhere. The economy is going to collapse. The world is going to disintegrate into so much of economic depression. And so many anxieties keep popping up from every corner. But a devotee, according to the Srimad Bhagavatam, should not become morose or affected or anxiety ridden because of all this, because whatever is going to happen is already been planned by Krishna. Already everything has been planned. If you know this and if you have complete faith in this, then that is the real success of our lives. We will try to live the example, or to emulate the example of Prahlad. Parikshit Maharaj, he's also one wonderful example of this. Everything was taken away in a flash of a moment. He knew exactly that in 7 days I am going to be killed. I have 7 days. How many of us even know about that? That we have 7 days, 7 months, 7 months, 7 years. Don't know that. What did Parikshit do? He also was going to face a catastrophe. He was not just, an ordinary leader. He was the king of the planet Earth. As soon as he heard that, complete surrender to Krishna. He didn't want anything else except Bhagavatam. Next point. Prabhu, I'll be finishing in a few minutes. I know it's almost time up. The next point is also very interesting, where he's making a realization. A wooden doll that looks like a woman or as an animal made of grass and leaves cannot move or dance independently. This should be the consciousness of every devotee. Prabhupada beautifully sings in his song, Guru Kripa Koile Krishna. He says, Nachao, Nachao, Prabhu, Nachao. That, oh Lord, you are the one who's making me dance. Please make me dance, make me dance, make me dance. I'm just a puppet in your hand. I don't have any capacity of my own. So Vrtrasura is making the same realization that just like a wooden doll that looks like a woman or an animal which is made of grass and leaves cannot move or dance independently, in the same way, we should all understand that everything that is happening in our lives, everything that will happen in our lives is only by the will of the Lord. So there is no point in getting entangled with the dualities of why this happened, why doesn't it happen like this. Better is to keep all these entanglement in the meshes which clog our consciousness so much apart, and try to focus in the dependence factor. Krishna is in control. Krishna is in control. He'll take care. He'll take care. He'll take care. The living entity is Anish, a beautiful word here. Anish means is never the controller. The meaning of Anish, that he cannot control. And of course, this is a topic in its own, that we are not the controllers. Every one of us know that we are not the controllers, and yet we think that we are the controllers. This is the Maya factor, which we'll just discuss in a few minutes. The Supreme Lord is the original cause of one's birth. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is the cause of one's being killed. These are all Vrtrasura's realizations. No one is independent, everyone is dependent. The true conclusion is that the only independent person is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one should not think, oh, I'm born in this family, I'm born in that family, these are my parents, and because of them I'm here. Because of Krishna we are here, and only because of Krishna we will go. He is the one who is controlling birth and death, not the coronavirus, not anything else in this world. It is only Krishna who is controlling. Who is a liberated person? One who knows that the three modes are not the qualities of the soul, but of the material nature. This is the sign of true liberation. Material dualities, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, mode of goodness, they will always be there around us. The moment the jiva starts thinking that this is what is being provoked in my heart, so let me do it, he's entangled. See, this is the most amazing power of Krishna, that he has thrown three ropes upon us. He's tied us with these three ropes, and the three ropes also make us believe that you are not tied. You are not tied. This is the Maya Shakti of Krishna. Material happiness is like a water in a ditch, whereas the spiritual happiness, eternally enjoying the spiritual world, is like an ocean of nectar in which the devotee wants to swim. Now, Vrtrasura is just explaining that what a pathetic offer it is for the jiva, for this living entity, to be attracted towards material pleasures, which is like a small water in a ditch. In comparison, the spiritual happiness of bhakti, of devotion, is like an unlimited ocean of nectar. When one understands, however, that the real controller is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is freed from the relativities of the world, such as distress, happiness, fear, and impurity. So another last point that he is expressing before he's killed by Indra. When one understands that one is not the real controller, and it is Krishna who is the real controller, what happens? Why is Krishna telling us? Sometimes this question may come in our heart. Why is Krishna and again telling that I am the controller, I am the enjoyer, I am the one who's doing this? Why? It is in our interest, because this is what Vrtrasura is telling, that one who actually realizes this, not just hears it, not just speaks it, but actually realizes it, that Krishna is a controller. Only such a person can be freed from the relativities of the world, such as distress, happiness, fear, and impurity. And Vrtrasura himself is an example of such a state of consciousness, that he has realized that Krishna is the one who is the real controller, and I am going back to Krishna. So he is not fearful, he is not in anxiety, he is not depressed. So thank you all very much, and I think that should be enough for all of you. My apologies if I went overboard. So Prabhu, we will stop here. Anyone would like to ask a question? I think we can take one. It's 7:20 now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Yes.
So I did not
Yes.
know that you are in the idea of Jai Jagannath. So I was looking
Yes,
for
I-
Swarupa Prabhu and
Yeah, well, that's
sorry.
my computer. So because it's from my computer, so it's saying Jai Jagannath.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So I have a request, Prabhu. So since if there is any queries, you can please post it on the meeting chat. So we will
Okay.
relay it to Prabhu and then send back the responses. So in the meanwhile, Prabhu, is it possible to chant the Chatur Shloka 6, 11, 24 to 27, followed by
You want
Narasimha Kavacha?
Bhagavatam or you want Bhagavatam, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, sure. Why not? We'll have to chant, but I will have to open it real quick.
I have it on my screen. I can share it if you can unshare.
I also have it right here. Oh, my bad.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
1 second. 1 second. I need to.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. The Narayana, sorry, yeah, Prabhu, we can, we will wait, Prabhu. We will wait. Yes, Hare Krishna, just wait for 1 minute. Prabhu is logging in back. So we will have the Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam 6, 11, 24 to 27 being chanted by Prabhu and then followed by Narasimha Kavacha. Hare Krishna, just 1 minute.